man, like they released the Kentaro Miura's rendition of like his torture, and man, like the guy's artwork was through the like he puts everybody to shame. Everybody, I say out of our whole shebang bang, I would say the tamer of swamp donkeys is probably the best artist. We all know who that is. G Flux, the tamer of swamp donkeys. Did you hear me?
I hear you, man.
I mean, of course he's a better artist. That man's a whole professional with a whole job. Like, you know, something like an art job.
No, that's not what I'm trying to get. That's not what I'm trying to get at. What I'm trying to get at is
who has art jobs who way better than us. Let's be honest. That's their job. 24 hours.
No, he was
just
correction.
To do art.
Correction. This man was a child prodigy of two other artists. So,
man, if we had a job, we would have potential to be that low. We don't have no art job, bro.
No. I hate to say it. You will never be on Kentaro Miura's level.
If I had an art job, I might. You never know.
No. No, that is that is honest God.
That comes from the mind.
That's the honest God-given talent.
I mean, no, it's different when you have an art job in comparison to art as a hobby. A hobby will never be of the same quality.
Hold on.
The person has a job in the field.
That man is divinity in a pen.
Like, it's just
I actually disagree. I think I like his work. I think it's very meticulous and detailed, but I don't automatically associate detail with being the best. And a matter of fact, I think most, I would say, decent amateur artists could achieve that. I think what makes his is that he's so prolific. He does so much of it. And I think that but when we would look at like form and composition and stuff, I think Frank Frazetta is actually a better artist than him.
What are you talking about? Conan art with oil paintings?
Yeah, well, I think Frank Frazetta is a better artist.
All right, so let's before we sign off tonight, let's all name an artist that besides who we talked about that we will consider top tier.
I have no opinion on this because
I don't have an opinion on this.
All right, I'll start it off. Alex Ross.
Yeah, Alex Ross is really good. Really good.
And then for paintings and illustrations, if I had to go,
Alex Ross is paint. Oh, okay, you can say okay. All right.
If I had to go beneath him, it would be Jim Lee. Jim Lee, basically.
I like older Jim Lee better than newer Jim Lee.
Yeah, like
I like older Jay Lee better than newer Jay Lee too. Jay Lee's new stuff, it's not appealing to me at all. But his older stuff, is the very stylistic stuff that he was doing, is just far more interesting looking to me.
Yeah.
I like the artist that made the Japanese wave. I like him. I like his art. I don't know if he's I wouldn't consider. I don't know if he's like the greatest, but I like his art.
Oh yeah, no, it's good, but it's just he's definitely not a comic artist.
Yeah. I mean, yes, if y'all are talking about comic artist, but I do like his art.
I heard that type of Japanese art though inspired a lot of manga that we see today.
But this is gonna be a controversial pick, but I say Todd McFarlane.
Yeah, Todd McFarlane is good. He has very that he kind of him and a few other guys kind of really established that 90s look, really dynamic. You know what I'm saying? Look or whatever. It just depends on what type of art you're talking about. If you're talking about more like pinup fantasy art, definitely Frank Frazetta. If you're talking about comic art, it depends on what style you like. Because you can include manga and comic art too. What kind of style you like.
But the thing about Frank Frazetta is this: I think his style was like it was the best way I can. It was bastardized by all the people who tried to follow behind him in that same style, like the people who used to throw things in heavy metal, and I used to grab the magazine just to see, like, okay, what are they doing this week now, or what are they doing now? And Frank Frazetta said,
I see what you're saying, but that's not what I'm saying. Is if you compare Frank Frazetta to the guy who did Berserk, what's his name? I can never remember.
Kentaro Miura, and you watch your black from his mouth. I
think once you start to really try to understand art, you realize that like doing like like I could sit here right now and I could draw something and make it photorealistic or put a bunch of detail in it with inks, with pen and ink and stuff like that, and I could spend there all day doing that and make it look good. It's a skill thing, you know what I'm saying? And I think almost anybody could achieve that skill if they work at it. Again, I think what separates him is that he's just so prolific. Like he does it so well, and he does it all the time. But it's not hard to achieve. It's just time consuming and tedious. You know what I'm saying? But when you look at Frank Frazetta's work, I think you're a better artist when you can achieve a feeling, an emotion, or a scene with less strokes and less lines and stuff like that, but you're still achieving, and he does that beautifully. You know what I'm saying? He does it beautifully. Like I don't do it like a one-to-one. Okay, this has more detail, so therefore it's better. I don't do that. Detail can look really good. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that. But I don't consider it like master.
I agree with you. I agree. I see where you're coming from. I'm going to tell you why I put Kentaro Miura over Frank Frazetta. And don't get me wrong, I love Frank Frazetta's work. That's, to be honest with you, the reason why I first saw Conan when I was little is because, oh man, big buff dude with a blonde. I'm down for it, right? But from the way you first open your first Berserk Volume 1, or even a prototype, it was not that great. It was not. The story really carried that from page 1 until his last work 2 years ago or 3 years ago now. Like his later work, just the progression. And you're right, and I see where you're coming from, where somebody worked at their task so long that they become that good. But he's that good. He was that good. He gave me something to inspire to. Like, I'm not great at digital art. I'm getting better. That means basically if I keep on going at it. And mind you, he didn't do his last, I think, 3 or 4 volumes is when he finally converted over to digital art. So he was doing all that by hand. Like, remember when we first saw the first view of Falconia, that big city scape, that was done by hand. All that detail.
But I think even if you want to compare that type of style, I put Katsuro Otomo over him. I think Katsuro Otomo is better. I think his compositions are better. I think his ability to achieve certain emotions and stuff is better.
I'm gonna put my 2 cents in it. Also, everybody's work ethic and their culture is also different when it comes to artwork. Because Japanese artwork, they put a lot more effort and not more effort, but they put
people slave for their jobs, man. What do you mean?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like they slave. Yeah,
they do have sweat.
Modern day slavery. I'm sorry, bro. I'm being honest, bro.
That's
I will give Carbon that credit. They do cheat their they burn their feet.
Yeah,
that's why they're so good.
I know. I still think. I mean, you could go
in that way. You could be good because you're doing it so much.
But J-Rock, you can go on Instagram right now, right, and you can see people doing the same level of detail work with like ballpoint pens, like blue ballpoint pens. That what's the guy's name? Kentaro. I can never remember the guy.
Kentaro Miura.
Kentaro Miura.
And you watch your blasphemous mouth.
My point is, I'm not saying that I'm not saying he's not a great artist, because he is. But if I were to say, is he the best just because he has a lot of detail? I would say no. And because I think even if you compare it to other people who are similar to him, I think Katsuro Otomo is better. Katsuro Otomo is the guy who did Akira. If you look at his black and white work and like some of the complexity in it, it's like, in my opinion, it somewhat destroys what's his name is doing. Like some of the things that he did, like he had this thing where he drew like this shiny sphere and you could see all the things in the sphere. It was like perfect. The perspective and everything was perfect. It's like, holy shit, man. But again, so even when you compare it to other people who are similar, he's definitely up there for sure. You know what I'm saying? I even look, hey, people are going to disagree with me. I put Akira Toriyama over here because Akira Toriyama mastered the ability of achieving form with less. To me, that's more complicated. That's harder to do. You know what I'm saying? Like literally, I could sit here and I could go to her little champion's belt thing, and I can sit here and I can hatch and hatch all day long and make it look just, fantastic, and make it look super real and a lot of texture and stuff. I don't consider that the highest form of technique. I just don't. Matter of fact, I won't say it's amateur. I would say it's mid-level, because it's when you're learning from life and you're learning try to create realistic things. It's a part of your journey when you're first learning how to draw. That's why it's boring to me now when trying to render things in the most realistic way possible, because something I was trying to do when I was like in middle school, or that I achieved when I was able to do it when I was like in middle school. But
hey, fellas,
I think it's harder to do it when you're trying to do it simply. Huh?
I agree with you.
To me, cartooning is harder than painting. That's just my opinion. Yeah.
This is true. Well, fellas,